Hey everyone, and welcome. So we've taken an absolutely fantastic conversation from our friends over at the Sip&Talk podcast and boiled it down to its very essence for you in this explainer. We're going to be diving deep, really deep, into what it means to be human. So let's jump right in. And right off the bat, we have to give a huge thank you to our friend Micky for sponsoring this and making this whole re-edit possible. Honestly, this quote from the original chat is just the perfect title, isn't it? The universe, meaning, and your knee. That's exactly what we're doing. We're starting with something super personal, that feeling when your body just starts breaking down a little, and then we're zooming all the way out to the cosmos, and then right back in to tackle the one thing we all have to face, being mortal. You know how it starts, right? It's so subtle at first, a knee that just kind of clicks, a back that complains when you get out of bed. It's like the hardware we're running on starts to glitch. Our bodies, these amazing machines, start sending us these little reminders that they've got an expiration date. So that really brings up the first big question. What are we supposed to do about it? How do we approach this whole aging thing? Well, it feels like society basically gives us two main options. On one side, you've got the warrior approach. Fight it tooth and nail, use every piece of tech, every workout, every trick in the book to hold on. But then there's the other path, the sage's path, which is all about gracefully accepting the natural rhythm of life and focusing on the quality of your experience. And that's a real tension, right? Do we resist our fate, or do we release ourselves to it? But what if there's another way to look at it? I love this idea from Japan, the art of kintsugi. They take broken pottery, and instead of trying to hide the cracks, they mend them with gold. They literally highlight the breaks. The philosophy is that the damage and the repair are part of the object's history. It teaches us that maybe our breaks, our scars, they aren't failures. They're just part of the unique, beautiful story of a life that's actually been lived. And that idea, finding beauty in the broken parts, that's a perfect jumping off point to look at the bigger picture. So let's zoom way, way out. From our bodies to a fundamental law of the entire universe. Because it turns out that having a deadline, having a finite life, might just be the greatest gift we've ever been given. Okay, let's get a little nerdy for a second. From a pure physics perspective, life is basically a rebellion. The entire universe has this one-way ticket towards chaos and disorder. It's called entropy. Everything is always breaking down. But life? Life is this wild, temporary, beautiful little bubble of order. It's a constant fight against that universal slide into chaos. And this isn't some abstract, out-there concept. This grand cosmic battle is literally what you are doing right now, listening to this. Every time you eat, you're importing energy to fight back. When you think, you're organizing messy information into clear thoughts. When you create anything, a meal, a spreadsheet, a piece of art, you are literally building a tiny pocket of order in a universe that's trying to tear it all down. How cool is that? Just think about it for a second. If you had forever to do everything, would anything really matter? You could just put it off till tomorrow or the next century. The fact that our time is limited, that's the secret sauce. That's what makes everything valuable. It's the deadline that makes our choices, our relationships, and the things we create so incredibly precious. Okay, I get it. It's so easy to feel completely insignificant in all this, right? When you really zoom out and look at the cosmic scale, we're just this thin film of chemistry on a small rock orbiting a pretty average star. It can feel like we're basically nothing. But, and this is the big but, here's the twist. For 13.8 billion years, the universe was just there. It was happening, but it didn't know it was happening. And then we showed up. We are the piece of the universe that woke up, the part that can look back at the stars and wonder what it all means. So you're not just in the universe, you are the universe, becoming aware of itself. And that is the opposite of insignificant. It's kind of miraculous. All right, so that's the big picture. Let's bring it all the way back down to Earth. With all this cosmic perspective, how do we actually live our lives day to day? Well, we've put together a little toolkit for you with some practical wisdom based on psychology, some hard data, and some really cool real-world examples. First up, dealing with loss. The 5 stages of grief, right? Denial, anger, all that stuff. It sounds so heavy and serious, but a great way to think about it is it's the same cycle you go through when you drop your phone in the toilet. Seriously. First, denial. No, it's fine. Then anger. Why me? Bargaining. I swear I'll be a better person if it just turns on. It's this universal human process for dealing with any kind of loss, big or small. And it's not a neat checklist, it's messy, but it's how we get through things. Now, if you need a little push to do the thing you've been putting off? Listen to this. A huge study on the regrets of the dying found something staggering. 82% of the biggest regrets were not for things people did, but for the things they didn't do. The chances they didn't take, the words they didn't say. The regret isn't about failing. It's about not even trying. So, okay, a life of fewer regrets, a life of more well-being, what does that actually look like? Well, for some amazing clues, we can look at these places called the blue zones. These are 5 actual regions on Earth where people live way longer and healthier lives. And the crazy part? It's not because they have better genes. It's not some genetic lottery. The secret is actually kind of simple. They move naturally. Think gardening, not CrossFit. They eat mostly plants and stop when they're about 80% full. They put their family and social circles first. And, this is a big one, they have a reason to get up in the morning, a sense of purpose. What's so amazing is that these simple habits are the perfect antidote to so many of our modern problems, like being too sedentary, eating junk food, and feeling lonely. And that last point about connection, it might be the most important one of all. There's this incredible study from Harvard that's been running for over 80 years. They wanted to find the single strongest predictor of a long, happy life. And you know what they found? It wasn't your cholesterol. It wasn't how much money you made. It wasn't even your genes. It was the quality of your relationships, by a long shot. Nothing else even came close. So, is all of this easy? Well, the data shows it's a challenge. Only about 22% of people are considered to be aging successfully, which means they're doing well physically, mentally, and socially. But wait, don't get discouraged. Let's flip that around. That means millions and millions of people are doing it. They're proving it's possible. This isn't some fantasy, it's an achievable goal. Which brings us to our final and probably most important point. We've looked at our bodies, we've looked at the whole universe, we've looked at the data. So what's the big takeaway? It's this. Meaning isn't something you just find somewhere, like a lost key. It's something you have to build, piece by piece, day by day. The psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, a man who survived the absolute horrors of a concentration camp, said it best. He basically said, we've got it all backward. We spend all our time asking the universe, hey, what's the meaning of life? And Frankl's point is that the universe is actually asking us that question. Our entire life is our answer. So, at the end of the day, meaning isn't a noun, it's a verb. It's an action. It's found in the connections you build, the things you create, the kindness you show. It's the trace you leave on the world and in the lives of other people. So the final question isn't what is the meaning of my life, but what meaning will I create? Now, this was just a taste of a much bigger, deeper conversation. If you want to hear the whole thing, unfiltered, just search for the Sip and Talk podcast wherever you listen. And one more massive thank you to our sponsor, Micky. We've dropped a link to his awesome YouTube channel down in the description, so definitely go check that out. Thank you for watching,